You may have heard recently about the controversy surrounding gas appliances in homes and how they pose a major health risk. In fact, many government agencies around the country are beginning to introduce legislation aimed at banning gas stoves, furnaces, and other appliances. We're going to cut through all the noise and explain the gas controversy and how these bills may impact you as a homeowner or buyer in Maryland. Unless you've been living under a rock for the last few years, you've more than likely heard that there's been a concerted effort by the government to reduce carbon emissions in nearly every facet of daily life. Most of the focus by these agencies started with car and factory emissions, but one of the newer targets is residential construction. In 2022, the Maryland General Assembly passed the Climate Solutions Now Act, which sets statewide carbon reduction goals for the state. And under this law, Maryland must reduce greenhouse gas emissions by 60% by 2031 and ultimately reach net zero carbon emissions by 2045. To that end, Maryland counties are jumping into the fray and enacting their own legislation to try to meet these goals, and housing is one of the areas that they're targeting to get there. According to Howard County's Climate Action and Resiliency Plan, buildings account for 40% of the county's greenhouse gases, with 11% being directly from burning fossil fuels for heating and cooking. The plan indicates the county must phase out fossil fuels in the county, in part by banning their use in new construction. Likewise, Montgomery County passed the so-called Comprehensive Building Decarbonization legislation, or Bill 1322, that requires the county executives to issue all-electric building standards for many newly constructed buildings within the jurisdiction by December 31st, 2026. The bill originally set January 1st, 2024 as the deadline for issuing the regulations, but the amended bill pushed that date back by 3 years, which disappointed the many advocates who called the change a missed opportunity. The regulations, once adopted as part of the county's new building code, will require that most of the new commercial and residential buildings are equipped with electric hot water systems and heat pumps for space heating and cooling instead of gas-fired appliances, including stoves. Opponents of these bills point to the fact that the climate in Maryland isn't really favorable for heat pumps, and that gas furnaces are much better options for heating homes when temperatures get very low. Heat pumps, which rely on electricity, have a hard time providing adequate heat when the temperature drops outside, and most of these systems then kick in a feature called emergency heat to supplement the system's output. The emergency heat uses dramatically more electricity, and it's much more expensive than the normal heat pump output. Climate change is its own political hand grenade, and I'm not about to jump into that one way or the other here, but it's important to note that fossil fuels in the home have a new black eye based on potential health concerns as well. There have been recent studies suggesting homes with gas appliances may cause asthma in children, or at the very least may exacerbate asthma conditions in children who already have the condition. And alternatively, there are apparently studies debunking this, which claim there is no correlation to gas appliances and health issues. I'm certainly not going to argue one way or the other. If the scientific community can't come to an agreement on the causation or severity of the health risk, the opinion of a real estate broker isn't going to help. I look at this discussion the same way I look at the potential health concerns of high-tension power lines. There seem to be some scientific opinions and data on both sides of the argument, and no clear-cut, concise answer yet. However, from a real estate perspective, these bills create some interesting dynamics in the marketplace. There's a lot of demand for homebuyers for gas stoves, for instance. And in fact, I would estimate that next to open floor plans, gas stoves are the second most requested features that buyers are looking for when they have our initial consultation. Some of the more aggressive proponents of the legislation related to gas appliances argue that they should be more restrictive and force current homeowners to switch their current gas appliance to electric alternatives. But because of homeowner costs and logistics, those types of provisions aren't very likely to pass. This means homes that currently have gas supply and appliances will be grandfathered in moving forward. And that also means that as more and more new homes are built with all electric appliances, the proportion of homes with gas appliances will become smaller and smaller. And just like any other product, when the supply goes down and the product becomes more rare, the value goes up. So I can definitely envision a not so distant future where homes that have gas appliances will be selling for a premium price. This may also influence your decision on whether or not new construction is the right option for you if you feel strongly about having a gas furnace, fireplace, or stove. Most of these bills aren't being implemented immediately and will take some time to be put into effect. But it's definitely going to be interesting to see how this all plays out and if gas cooking and heating really are on their way out for good.